Good morning, everyone. Today we are starting our second round of couple therapy related topics. We have successfully completed one round of family therapy related topics, child related topics, and couple related topics. So today we are coming to the next round where we are going to cover important practical problems. What we have discussed in our first part is mainly the theoretical aspects, what happens in a family counseling, or what is a marriage, and we looked at some basic child related conditions there. So here we are moving on to the second round of our family related topics, starting with again the marital area. So today we are going to look at a very important topic about anxiety disorders, especially when one spouse with anxiety problem enters into a marriage relationship. How is the marital adjustment, and to what extent the marital therapy, we call it behavioral marital therapy, which is an extension of our cognitive behavior therapy, which we have discussed in our previous series. So here we'll look at this topic today. Before starting the topic, I'll give you a small story, so we all understand things better with the stories. So this is a practical and real story which will give us a kind of opening towards getting into the details of the topic, today's topic. So there is this mother, highly educated modern mother, who has come to my center with a teenager, and she told me that her son is a little on the shy, inhibited, and she wanted help for making her son much more an extroverted and more a kind of verbally expressive in his social circumstances, school or with friends. So one thing that I want you to understand here is that the nature plays a very strong role. No one can change one's nature. The genetic makeup of having either a kind of, some amount of anxiety, easily getting upset, we call it sensitive to criticism. So the genetic component, especially in psychological conditions, plays a very, very, very important role. So if someone or some professional is telling that I will transform you in and out, and I will take away your anxiety and depression and all your psychological problem completely, that means the person is only giving a fake picture. So the reality is that most of us, if you look at anxiety alone, 1 in 4, 1 person out of 4 persons has an anxiety streak. So you have to understand how wide the anxiety is. The 20th century is named as a century of anxiety. So coming back to our story, I told her that just telling her this will not make her happy. So I wanted to conduct a couple of assessments where I can explain her more objectively. So we have done a kind of intellectual assessment and the personality kind of assessment, and a couple of other assessments which can give me much more details about the nature of the child. So when I gave her the feedback that the child by nature seemed to be a shy child, and I also observed the father seemed to be little on the introvert and on the anxious side, but then she was unhappy with the feedback, and then she said that I'm not happy with the feedback. So here, no psychologist or no mental health professional want to make you happy, so they will give a false picture. At least that is not the way it is. So I have to give the facts so that what they expect out of the next step of counseling should be more realistic. So when I said that I am giving you the facts, I am giving you what is coming in the reports, and then don't completely be disheartened that the child is a shy or introverted or inhibited, because a introverted child or an introverted person are very good in their observations, and then they are very good in their listening capabilities, and then you need not look at it as a weakness. We are so stuck with the Western idea that only if you talk orally very fluently that you are intelligent. Not necessary. They're very smart people, and they are very intelligent in the way that they meticulously plan their things. But then we all want instant results and dynamic changes overnight, which is not possible. So this is what happened. So the point that I am trying to tell you is that anxiety can be such an impairing condition that, where we have discussed the different kind of anxieties in 2 to 3 episodes, starting with panic attacks or panic disorders. There is this obsessive compulsive disorder. There is a generalized anxiety. There is a social anxiety. So anxiety is such a widespread problem, where the roots of it, or the kind of budding happens when the child starts getting into the teenage. So here, today we are looking at this topic on how this anxiety can affect the quality of life of a person going through this anxiety. We'll look into the marital area. What happens in the marital area where one spouse has an anxiety problem. This is also my PhD topic, where I have completed in 2003. So I have worked on the couples, which I will discuss towards the end of this topic, and how behavior marital therapy can be of a significant qualitative, I'm not giving you a quantity here, how behavior marital therapy, if sincerely taken, can bring a qualitative change or qualitative improvement in the lives of the couple. So this is what we are going to discuss here. So looking at what happens in the quality of life, looking at a person who is having an anxiety problem, generally different anxiety problems will have a significant effect on different areas of one's life. Generally in panic disorder, where there is a kind of overwhelming fear of danger, or those who have not looked at panic, you can please look into the beginning episodes of the psychoeducation series. In panic, mainly there is an emotional effect on the emotional health of the person, and these are the people who are highly prone for abuse, alcohol abuse or substance abuse, and then there is significant effect on their emotional health aspect. Looking at generalized anxiety, these are the people where they are kind of constant, they are like worriers. They constantly worry about what might happen, especially about the future. So the more worries regarding the future misfortunes will actually make them completely kind of a worrisome kind of a person, always some worry or the other affecting their daily life. So looking at social anxiety, so here they actually, the anxiety makes them avoid a wide variety of social situations, be it career, be it interpersonal situations or academic situations, because of which their basic kind of growth, especially in the foundation years, starting from teenage to young adulthood, the foundation years are significantly affected with the social anxiety problem. So coming to the OCD again, obsessive compulsive disorder, here mainly the social area is mainly affected. So based on the kind of anxiety condition, there is effect on their functioning. So when we say quality of life, we are mainly looking at the well-being of the person in various aspects of one's life, like in the emotional functioning, in their social functioning, interpersonal area, career, as well as significant areas where the quality of life has been, the well-being of the person has been affected. So looking at the marital area, so when a person with this anxiety problem entering into a much more complex marital relationship, especially when the other spouse is a normal person, not high on an anxiety condition, there can be a significant amount of strain built over the adjustment issues. So here, a happy marital couple, mainly they have a good communication, well adjustment, and they have this good quality of life of sharing, especially sharing the happiness as well as sharing the unhappiness. When the spouse is going through a difficult period, the kind of empathy or the support that the other spouse gives brings in a lot of kind of secure feeling and strength in the relationship. And the opposite effect happens when there is kind of distancing or no emotional sharing happening. When during these difficult periods in the couple's relationship, there can be a lot of emotional distance built, and insecure, lonely kind of relationship can be the result. So here, generally, in if you look at Indian context, mainly the people who marry, especially the young persons, very close to their family of origin, their parental, is also one of the obstacle here, where they can kind of, when the other spouse is becoming critical or not trying to blame about their brought up, usually the other person gets very get into very uncomfortable kind of situation. The too much of close knit and dependency on the parental home is also can become a kind of obstacle in your marital area. So here, mainly when there is a kind of adjustment issues coming back to the anxiety kind of couples, there are more kind of more negative kind of emotional exchanges, and less positive interactions happen here, because of which there is a kind of emotional distance that is built in the couple relationship. So here, mainly the person who is coming with a kind of expectations. See, in anxiety, what generally, looking at different anxiety conditions, generally it is a kind of perceived physical or psychological danger. Yes, we all live in a kind of society where trusting another person is a problem, or and there are threats and there are real dangers around, which I am not denying it. But then a person who is not overwhelmed with anxiety can look at it in much more realistic perspective and look at it from a more practical way of how to handle it. Whereas a person with anxiety might look at it or blow out of the proportion, and then they become completely overwhelmed with how to handle the situation, and hence they end up avoiding the situations. So the same thing happens in the marital area as well. here there is a kind of burden that is on the other spouse who does not have anxiety, and then there can be a significant strain in communication. There can be significant strain in the problem solving, especially when there are difficult periods or critical periods, especially when there are transitions that we have discussed about, the developmental transitions that are required from couple are moving from stage of couple to parents to, different stages of child rearing. More and more complex and difficult areas when they have to deal together, and when it becomes like one of the couple is stuck with a lot of fears of moving forward, it can be very stressful on the other partner. So here, looking at how a behavioral marital therapy can help these partners. So like I said in the beginning, this is my PhD work also, where I have done on the couples having these anxiety conditions, and I have compared them with the normal couples. Here mainly, when we are looking at behavior marital therapy, which is an extension of the cognitive behavior therapy, mainly cognitive behavior therapy is applied in individual conditions like depression and all the anxiety conditions, whereas behavior marital therapy is the same scientific principles are applied in couple relationship as well. So here, when a couple is coming with these kind of anxiety as affecting their relationship, be it communication, be it problem solving, or there can be a significant sexual dysfunction, and then all these problems can complicate the day-to-day living of the couple and the growth of the relationship. So here, mainly in behavior marital therapy, the focus is given not only in the couple relationship and also working with the person who has anxiety. It is done at two levels. Working for CBT with the person, with the spouse having anxiety problems, mainly working on their reducing the anxiety, developing into much more calmer kind of lifestyle changes, and they're working on their problem solving abilities. And then I do a lot of art therapy with the anxiety, as well as most of the psychological conditions, which can be a best way of working through their expressing their emotions, especially the negative emotions of anxiety, in a much more acceptable medium. And I teach them a little bit of mindfulness meditation, more from a therapeutic or treatment perspective, and then work on their communication, problem solving, and then mainly focus is mainly on increasing their positive interactions and decreasing these negative emotional exchanges that happen. And when a spouse understands the anxiety is coming in the way of the relationship, and then an education of knowing the condition of the spouse with anxiety will actually help them to be more understanding and more empathetic, and help them. We have already seen in our clinical settings also a significant improvement in the marital area when we have given the marital behavior marital therapy. There's a significant improvement in the quality of life, not only in the career as well as the occupational area, social area of the person, but also in their marital relationship. And the relapse is something where the anxiety can reappear again. The relapse rate has come down significantly. So even in my PhD work, when I have worked with these couples, mainly there is a significant improvement in their understanding levels, in their sharing or self-disclosure ability, and their ability to kind of maintain this long-term in their relationship, so that the other spouse can be much more a kind of support and understand, and then help them in order to bring in a much better quality of life. So this is what I wanted to discuss in today's session, and then hope it will help you a little bit on understanding how anxiety can be impairing both individually as well as in your relationship. And I am not saying behavior marital therapy is going to bring in dramatic changes, but it definitely can improve a significant quality of your life, not only in your career area, but also in your marital adjustment. So thank you all. Happy weekend. And we are going to move on with much more interesting and much more practically valid topics in the future weeks, like how to adjust in the initial years of marriage, and loneliness in marriage, and what happens when there is an infidelity, cheating of the partner after marriage, and various other important practically valid topics. Thank you all.